watching Thrifty Kaniffy.
Hello everyone and welcome to Thrifty Kaniffy. Well, today we're going to be taking a look at a couple of RoseCraft Blades knives. These are brand new, just came out Tuesday. You can go over to rosecraftblades.com, pick these two up. You've got the red sandalwood, it costs $60, and the stag is $80. So you can use the code SLIPPY10. My good friend Slip Joint Sawyer is an ambassador. You can use his code for SLIPPY10 to save 10%. So head on over there and pick these up if you're interested. Now the Senator is a 3.5-inch closed knife, and you have, of course, the stag here. A wonderful, genuine stag used on these. And for those that kind of complain about their thickness of the stag, you might be interested to know that these are actually quite a bit thinner than some of the other stag handles that I own, and that's not as common. As you'll see, this is actually pretty low profile. So for those that like a thinner knife, maybe still be able to get these stag handles without an issue. They've done a great job of filing down these pins. That can always be a challenge when you have these sort of up and down ridges in the stag, and they've done a great job of keeping that nice and flat. Good transitions to the bolsters on either end here. Now this is based on an Ashley Harrison design, which is called the Senator as well, and the main difference being the bolsters are quite a bit different. You've got a larger bolster at the front and a smaller one at the back here. This is more rounded and this one more squared. On the Ashley, you have basically two squared bolsters that are slightly larger than the one at the rear here, probably another 50% larger, and they are on both front and back, sort of more of an equal-ended bolster style. But they do both have the lambsfoot blade, which we'll take a minute to look at in a moment. But let's look at the fit and finish here. You can see just a little bit of stepping down to the stag from the integral liner there. But otherwise, really, really well done. There's no gapping there, nice and tight. And no rough edges around the perimeter of the bolster there at the front. Now, I've taken the liberty to roll off that edge just a touch. It was a little sharp at the elbow there. Just takes a couple of moments to take care of that, and then it gets rid of all the edginess. Another thing I did is I found that it improved the comfort of the knife quite a bit in the hand, is to kind of roll these bolsters ever so slightly. You can see how I've done that right at the corners here. Just rolled them off a little bit just to make that a little more comfortable in the hand as you would grip it as it was. Now here's one I haven't touched yet. You can see the difference. These are quite a bit more squared off still. But I just found that to be a really useful way to make the knife a lot more comfortable in hand. Now, you know, some people don't want to have to do that, and that I completely understand that. But, you know, if you just want to spend a couple of minutes caressing the corners there, I think you'll be a lot more happy with the way it feels in your hand. Now, the centering on this one is very, very straight. You can see that's right down the middle. This one's just a touch off, actually. This is probably the least centered blade I've ever gotten from RoseCraft. But it more than makes up for it, because if you look at the texture of that wood handle, that is absolutely fantastic. I love the grain pattern on there. And just when you thought, wow, couldn't get much better, you flip it over and you get this lovely wood on the back. So obviously all these are going to be different, but I just really felt like I hit a home run with this one. Got very lucky with the quality of the wood on this one. Now, this was not hand selected or anything for me. I bought this at Red Hill Cutlery. And yeah, just completely random selection from their stock. So maybe you'll be as fortunate as I am and get something that looks just as good. But really lovely lambsfoot blade on these. Again, the close length was 3.5 inches, and then you get this lovely D2 satin finish blade at about 2 5/8, just shy of 2 3/4 there. I feel like the blade to handle ratio is very, very reasonable, and I really like the swedging on this one. Actually, it does kind of give you the illusion that that is a nice angled lamb's foot blade, but then when you look at the swedging, you can see it just actually has a little bit of a rounded edge on the top there, but very, very elegantly done. The nail nick is well positioned, so you get a really good leverage on the blade. It makes it very simple to open. So if you are one that has a little more difficulty opening, knives with a stronger pull, you should be very happy with the pull on this, because with the leverage that you get with the nail nick being that far up the blade, you have no problem pulling it out. But it still does have a very good pull on it and very good lockup. So the walk and talk on this particular knife is just fantastic. I found both of the knives to be equal in that regard with the spring tension. And you can hear just how lovely that locks up. So fantastic walk and talk on these. And again, with the fit and finish on the back here, pretty much the same. You may have a little less stepping on this one. And again, nice and tight. Those integral liners are just well done. So no gapping there. Again, I think my main complaint with it is just the corners of the bolster. I have like a sensitive area right here on my hand. I don't know. I don't know if that's just for everybody or for me alone, but there's just this little area right here. When something digs into that spot of my hand, it like hits a soft spot in my hand, and it is not comfortable to have anything pokey. So I've rolled those corners, and that made a world of difference for me. So if you don't mind spending, a few minutes just to kind of customize your knife slightly, spend a little maintenance on it, no big deal. Not for me. I enjoy that sort of thing, just like I do restoring knives and things like that. And, just a little bit of sandpaper and time. You can just roll these corners over, and the comfort of this knife will improve, to me, significantly. Makes a world of difference. Just have no problem squeezing that tight. But with this one in hand, I wouldn't say it's a hot spot, but I'd call it maybe a warm spot. Does that make sense? Maybe not quite as severe to call it a hot spot, but just a little bit of less comfort. And that is always something that's pretty important to me, is to have a knife that's comfortable to use. And you should have no problem with that when you have a single bladed knife. Only being able to just grip the handle with no other blade to concern yourself with. But very nice sharp blade. Let's look at the blade edges on this one. Very well done. Maybe a little bit light there towards the choil. And this side, a little bit light at the tip. Yeah, I wouldn't say this is their best grind. I've seen more consistent grinds on their edges, but it does appear to be quite sharp. We'll give it a nice little quick paper test and see what we got here. That looks pretty good. Happy with that. Now let's look at this blade. Yeah, that one appears to be a little shallow at the choil side too, but otherwise pretty good. Actually, that one's a little more even. Maybe the angle's a little off from side to side a little bit. A little heavier at that edge than the tip. So yeah, I've seen them do better jobs on the sharpening. There you've got the sticker to let you know it is from China, and then Andy Armstrong's maker mark, D2 steel, Again, this is model number RCT021, the Sweetwater Creek Senator. There's your tang stamp, RoseCraft blades. Glad that they're still using that stamp. Always looks nice. And again, walk and talk on both of these, quite good. So again, I just feel like the handle material that you get on these really kind of sets off the knife altogether, and to me makes, you know, the price worth it. The quality of the build and the edge retention on these has always been really good. Let's actually test the sharpness of this one with the paper test. You guys are probably wondering, well, how sharp is the other one? Quite sharp. So I think I'm pretty happy with the edges out of the box. Of course, you could always drop these, maybe try to improve them a little bit here and there, but really lovely shape to the lamb's foot blade. Really do appreciate that. And I like the 3.5-inch length. I think that's a good size for, you know, maybe someone with a more medium-sized hand. Medium to large, medium large. It's kind of what the glove size I wear is, like a medium/large. So yeah, that fits the hand really well. Kind of in that Goldilocks zone that I like, 3.5 to 4 inches, and 3 3/4 being pretty much ideal. 3.5 being maybe a little bit on the smaller side of that, but still really well-sized knife. Now these are the exact same length closed as those Ashley Harrisons, and I'll actually put up a short little clip here to let you know what Andy said about that. Whoa. And you said that was inspired by Arthur Wright Sons. So if it looks familiar.
They have a Senator, and I love that Senator that they have. Our blade's just a little bit different, but what's really different here is I wanted a butt cap like a doctor's knife has instead of a full bolster on that end.
Okay, so there you have that. And again, it's the same size as an Ashley, and I'll throw up a picture of the Ashley to kind of let you guys have a comparison photo to see what this was inspired from, and you can kind of see the differences. There you have it. So again, the sandalwood, $60. The the genuine stag, $80. And they really are just remarkably good looking handle materials both. So maybe buy one or the other, or do as I have and buy both. That's going to do it for my review, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell to be made aware of videos when they drop. We will see you next time. Take care.